Well, good morning. Welcome back to GP Outdoors and to Central Ontario. We're seeing the driveway in a lot of spots. It's a good sign that spring's coming. Today we're going to take the front end blower off of the tractor and I'm going to throw my front end loader back on. And I know there's a lot of folks, especially people in Ontario, that are sitting back with a big smile thinking, GP, you know there's a lot more snow coming. And I know there is a lot more snow coming. In fact, we're getting a few flakes right now. But I got a couple of things working for me. One, I'm going to be off for the next week or two on a little bit of vacation. Second thing is I've got my rear blade in case I need it. And in worst case scenario, if we get a big snow, I still have the rear 3-point hitch blower from Kevin and Dave Farmer at Farmer Equipment Sales on loan. I haven't given it back yet. So I think I'm covered. Plus at this time of the year, as things are warming up, if we do get snow, it pretty much melts away pretty quick. So if you've got a few minutes and a coffee, stick around and watch me take this thing off and let's get this thing ready for spring. Cheers. So remember folks, I'm no expert at this by any means, but this is just the way I do it. So hopefully it'll be helpful. I'm not saying it's the right way to do it, but this is how I've learned to do it pretty easily. It's pretty much almost a no-tool removal. The only reason I have a couple of tools with me is because our good friend Dave, RCAF Polar Express, had mentioned or suggested that I put some wire on here to help this thing from removing. So wire cutters, brought my persuader just in case. And other than that, it's pretty simple to remove. So let's get at it, and I'll show you how to do it. Good, she's loose. Remove your pin. Release the lever. Make sure everything's good. She's disconnected. A number of folks have probably noticed that I tie wrap up my hoses up to my grill guard as well as along the top. I don't route them the way that the manual asks to do it, through this loop and down underneath the axle. I just find that when I've done it that way, I tend to see that the hoses come awfully close to the front tire and I just don't feel comfortable, so I always just tie them up with wire wraps, get them up and over to the hydraulic connections. So you notice that I disconnected the chute, but I didn't disconnect the hydraulics for the subframe. The reason why is because sometimes when you're either putting it on and trying to get the tongue in or you're trying to pull it out, you sometimes have to lift or lower just to get it out smoothly. So I always leave them on because I only have to come out a few inches and it's done. Okay, and you probably saw me on the first set of hoses. When you have some time, make sure you clean off your connections to make sure that no sand is getting into your hydraulics when you connect your next hoses. And as well, make sure you clean out your plugs, clean out the inside with a rag, make sure she's nice and clean before you close them all up. Okay, and remember, when you're starting to take off your subframe, the first one you should take off is the shaft from your mid-PTO to the subframe. And if you'll remember, when I put this on back in the beginning of the season, you'll remember that at the subframe, there's a whole lot of give and a lot of room on the PTO shaft or at the spline that comes out of the subframe. So that one's where you've got lots of room to move back and forth. So it's always easier to grab it here, give it a little push, comes off nice and easy. And then you're very easily able to just pull your shaft right off of the spline. Nice and easy. All right, so your shaft has been taken off the mid-PTO and away from the subframe. So what you've got left now, of course, is this big bolt up here that holds it on the front, as well as the pin that runs underneath the subframe behind the tires. So we're going to take this out and loosen this up first, then we're going to move the pin out. Okay, should be good and loose. Okay, you'll remember that the big pin that goes through the subframe and connects it to the chassis is held on with a cotter pin on this side, and the actual handle for it is on the other side. So remember, we take the cotter pin off first, and then start the tractor, turn your wheels far to the left, or you're not going to be able to pull the pin out of the other side. Okay, here's the pin to the subframe. Should be easy to come out, and don't forget, when you put your subframe on at the beginning of the winter season, remember that the handle for this pin has to face backwards. Don't face it forward, because I understand that as the wheel turns, it has a chance of rubbing. So you always want to make sure it's facing the back. Let's pull her out. Subframe should fall. So a few final words, that was it. I took my time doing it. It's a lot quicker, as you could probably imagine, but I just wanted to make sure everybody saw each step. One thing I wanted to thank, one of my subscribers had mentioned that this chain on this housing was actually here to hold the PTO shaft up. I actually thought this was the safety chain for the protection on the PTO, but in fact the chain is here. I use it for that, but it's also hooks into the other side here, so it keeps it off the ground and under the snow. Quick bit of information on this subframe and this B2782 blower. When I bought the tractor and the blower, I thought this subframe was specific to this blower. But I was watching Kubota Driver, which is another YouTube channel. I've been watching him for about a year. Nice fella. He's got a 2650 with a cab, so of course he's looking pretty toasty warm when he's out there blowing snow all winter. Last week he released a video and he took the blower off, just simply undid the front subframe, drove it around the other side of the shed, and sure enough he had a hydraulic plow blade which connects right into the subframe just as easily. And there's also a hydraulic broom attachment that will go on the subframe as well. So if you're interested in seeing how that works or what that looks like, the YouTube channel is Kubota Driver, and he released the video somewhere around, I think around March 15th, 2019. Check it out. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so she's wrapped up. She's on a skid, off the snow. If you don't have a nice garage like a lot of folks have, or you're outside like I am, always try to find skids and get your equipment up on skids. Keeps it out of the snow, stops it from freezing in or sinking into the mud and those kind of things. And plus, this equipment's kind of expensive, so you want to look after it. So I got everything on one skid. I'll probably wrap this up later. I'm going to have to re-grease some of these fittings, some of my PTO shafts, my augers, etc. Lube the chain, do those kind of things. I'll do that on a sunny, warm day sometime in the next few weeks or the next month. There's no rush on it. And then hopefully get some spray nine, clean off my unit, and try to get all of the exhaust, the black exhaust dust off, that kind of thing, and get this thing ready, put away, clean my hose endings, make sure I put them back on, and then I can take this skid and I can store it away, put a tarp over it, and leave it until next season. Now the exciting part, can't wait, let's get that front end loader back on. Stick around. Okay, GP Outdoors subscribers, it's time for the 10,000 subscriber gift contest. Question number 3. On my channel, on video number 38, you'll remember I did a box blade review because I purchased a box blade from Kevin and Dave at Farmer Equipment Sales. I love that box blade. You folks have seen me use it through most of the summer. On that video number 38, I do a review of all the specs of that box blade. And during the review of the specs, I talk about the scarifiers. The question for you, which is question number 3 for the contest, is how many height positions can I adjust the scarifiers to on that box blade? Good luck to everyone. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.